What's going on, guys? My name is Doug. Welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be listening to ERYS by Jaden Smith. I know it's been a little bit, but I know you will all forgive me. As some of you may know, I was getting married, and so I haven't really been recording that much, but we are back to my usual grind, recording almost daily now, and we'll be getting to all the content that I was supposed to get to you guys a few days ago. So a little late, but we're finally here. We're listening to ERYS by Jaden Smith, like I said. I know you guys aren't here for this introduction. You're here for the reaction, so we're going to keep the intro really short, and we're going to jump right into it. You know, I'm excited. Jaden always brings a whole lot of energy, a whole lot of excitement to his music. He's an artist with a whole lot of versatility. I think it's going to be really interesting to hear how he's progressed as an artist from Sire to this, and Sire, of course, the Electric album to this. So, you know, I mean, I'm really just excited to finally be listening to it. We're going to see what he's got for us. The first 4 tracks are titled P-I-N-K, in contrast to B-L-U-E on Sire, and so I will be dissecting all 4 tracks as 4 individual tracks instead of just letting it all play through, because I do want to get my thoughts across and I don't want to leave anything out. So with that being said, thank you all so much for being here. Let's just jump right into the first track, which is P. One thing that I really like about this already is that it's interpolating the introduction to Sire, you know, B. The melody is similar, it's not exactly the same because it's inverted. On B it was da 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 da. On this one it's like, instead of rising and then falling, it falls and then rises. So it's, if you play the melodies from both tracks at the same time, they'll harmonize with each other, is what I'm trying to say. I love the layered, distorted vocals underneath her track. It's really dope. Yo, this is beautiful, bro. I mean, keys, guitars, the vocals, the distortion, it's all perfect. I love this already. We're gonna let this one play on to the second track, which is I. Oh my god, I had songs in my queue. No. Alright, now we'll get it right. I had Space Cadet in my queue.
When I walk in, they be sweat, they be stressing. When I see it, stop at everything. Vision in my credit, I'm a running when it goes.
Yeah.
Every time I sip it, I be tripping.
Oh, this goes so hard, bro. I love the delivery. The guitar loop is so awesome. Alright, so I'm gonna pause it right here. We got through the first 2 tracks, which are P.I., and so far, P was absolutely beautiful. Such an incredible arrangement, such an incredibly beautiful start to the project. Flowed right into I. Like I said, it follows along the same vein of Blue, which is the introduction to Sire. And so this one is way more energetic. This one's got a really fire verse from Jaden. This one's got hard-hitting production. It's got distorted guitar loops. It's got really cool piano melodies going on in the background. The kick hits you right in the gut. I mean, it's really hard-hitting. It's really energetic. His delivery is great. His vocals are really distorted. I think that it is very creative. It was predictable, but it's still executed really well, you know? You can tell that it's following the pattern of the introduction to Sire, but he's not just doing exactly the same thing. It's predictable in a good sense. You know where he's going with it, but it's still interesting and fresh. We're gonna listen to N and K next, so yeah. Let's get it, bro. He's really creative with his arrangements, man. That's one thing that I always love about Jaden's music.
I had to make the canvas and break. I understand they don't get it. They just want to see the flick of the wrist.
I love the toms. The drums sound great. Really reverberant, too. It's really dope. Those drums are so tribal, bro. I love it. Gotta love the hi-hats. Yeah.
Oh my rebel child, the sun is gone away.
So far there's been a lot of themes. He's talked about police brutality. He's talked about young black people losing their lives, you know, because of the police brutality. He's talked about some of the good that he's doing in his community. Talks about taking care of the people that no one really cares about. Things like that. And you know, he put out that vegan I Love You food truck that goes around serving healthy food to homeless people. I thought that was really dope. Sending water to Flint, Michigan, which I thought was also really dope. So, you know, he's not only just talking the talk. He actually does good for not only his community, but for other communities as well that he sees that are in need, that he's able to help. I think that he has actually really been proactive in doing stuff like that. So, you know, it's really refreshing to see him not only act, but to also be able to talk about what he's doing on tracks like this. I think it's really great. And he's setting an example for other artists to follow suit, which I think is really dope. This track, yeah, really dope. And it's really energetic as well. It's got a whole lot of different arrangements going on. And then at the end, they all kind of come together in a really climactic fashion. So I like it. Next track is K. And that'll finish out the 4-part introduction to the project, which has been really dope. You know, I personally am a huge fan of Blue, and this is living up to my expectations for this introduction. So I really like this. Love the guitars already.
Daytime is going away. I'm on vibes, take this ride. I'm so glad you found me. She let me keep it quiet. Always fighting, now we go see eye to eye, guess. And the vision so vivid, there was something.
I love this like soft rock vibe to this. This is really cool, man. He's really wavy, bro. He's so talented. I thought it was gonna stay along that vibe. That was really dope. I like the soft rock feel to it. What? Did he sample Clippers? It's creative.
Fireplace, lot of big flames. Posters made me wanna fucking suffocate. Hey, getting closer, I just gave my.
I'm telling you, it's a whole nother level of creativity, man. Sampling Clippers was really dope. I like that idea. I would say that the distortion to the Clippers, you know, to the sound that the Clippers are making to the sample is a little overpowering, but I would have to listen with headphones on to really get a feel for it. I do think that it fits really well when the rest of the elements of the beat come in, you know, the bass line and the drums. I think it sounds absolutely great. When it's just the Clippers, it is a little harsh, but I still think it's a really dope idea. I love the energy, I love the flexing, I like the lyricism here. You know, there's not really complex lyricism. What I mean is that I like the lyrics. You know, they're not corny, they're not cheesy. He really executed this introduction to this project really well. We got really great vibes. The soft rock feel to the beginning of this track was tremendous. You know, he shows so much versatility, so much creativity. From an artistic standpoint, it's really interesting. It's really fun to listen to. From the production standpoint, it's really awesome to dissect all the different elements that he includes in the music. But just looking at this musically, it's all great music. It's all fun to listen to. It's all great to vibe out to. It's fun to mosh to and to ride to. You know, the energetic portions of the track bump, and then the really wavy portions are really smooth and really well mixed and executed. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed by this introduction. You know, this is really cool, and it's got me excited for the rest of this project for sure. So the next track is Noise. Let's get it.
Drums, nigga, IRYS in a 6 with no wrist, by the switch, no assist, never miss with the drip. Licking and sucking, well they don't get sarcasm. Listen to like orgasm. I'm a nutcase. It's how I couldn't put you on the spot when niggas be in. When I get that 20 bag, I swear to God that I'll believe that.
Yo, I like the collaboration here with Tyler the Creator. I think that Tyler's verse is really dope. I think that the funniest bar on here is "Needed time to heal," just like Nicky Buns. You know, I think that it's hilarious. I really like the energy to this track. Jaden, I mean, I know he had a sore throat by the time he was done recording this. I mean, just screaming, you know, it's a whole lot of energy. It's a whole lot of distortion. It's got a really crazy mosh pit type of vibe, you know. It reminds me a whole lot of some of the vibes that Brockhampton comes with sometimes. Really chaotic, really energetic. Just a whole lot of jumping and punching and screaming and just taking out all your frustrations, you know. I feel like that's what this music is really good for. This track is crazy, it's insane, but I like it. I like it a lot. Next track is called I Drip or Is. I love the little bells. They sound really cool. There's a really cool bounce to this new beat. Yo, I really like that outro, the third verse into the outro. The way that it was mixed, I think they put a high pass filter on it, maybe on the whole song, so that only the upper frequencies made it out, so that it really sounds like it almost sounds like they're in the room with you, but like far away almost. It creates a really interesting effect, especially when you're listening on speakers. Almost like a 3D effect when you're listening to it. I think it's really dope. But that's just mixing, you know. I think that the beat is really dope as well. The beat switch up towards the third verse. Again, lots of energy, you know, as always with Jaden. It's really creative. There's a whole lot of distortion. There's a whole lot of yelling. This sounds more like a flex track, you know. It doesn't sound like he says a whole lot in terms of really deep subject matter. You know, he's just kind of flexing, talking about misfits, and it really seems like he's just having fun with the really aggressive sounds and the really aggressive beat. You know, it sounds great. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not bad music. It's not wowing me, for sure, but it's definitely above average music, for sure. This is really dope. I love the drums now, the switch up there. That's a cool way to say this ain't a game. I love the little keys. It's so awesome. This is really smooth. Yo, that outro was really beautiful, man. Just kind of like vocalizing, playing around with the auto-tune, some really wavy guitars, a really smooth vibe. I really like that. It's a radically different vibe from the rest of the track, but I still think it's really dope. The bass has been knocking for this entire project. You know, the beats have been really hard, and he has been performing really well on these beats. Being really creative with the mixing on his vocals definitely helps, you know, or else you kind of end up sounding like Logic, who kind of takes the same approach to all these different hard beats. You know, but he plays around with the reverb, the distortion, the auto-tune. He's got all these different elements to his vocals that kind of make the tracks feel a little fresher and more interesting. I really like what he's been doing so far, man. It's been really interesting and fresh, and he's switching up the beats during the songs, playing around with the drums during the songs, radically switching the whole vibe of the track towards the end. It's this type of stuff, it's those risks that he takes during his songs that keep him interesting to listen to. So, you know, I like it. I like the risks that he's taking. Track 8 is Got It. Yo, that little melody, bro. He killed this, bro. Take Keith, bro. Coming with it for this track. This feels like an interlude almost. It's like a minute long. It's really hard, it's really aggressive. That's really all I have to say about it. Like I said, it's just a minute long. There's not much to say about it except for the fact that it's really fire, it's really dope, it's aggressive, it's hard hitting, the bass knocks, and it's really fun to listen to. So what more can you want, you know, when you're listening to an album like this? It's a really dope track. Next track is Fire Department. Interesting punk rock track from Jaden Smith, man. I wasn't expecting that, but I like the change of pace. I think it's a really fun song. You know, it's got a really cool energy to it. It's not too long. It's just a really quick dose of just punk rock music. Again, I think that that's going to be really fun at concerts. It's going to be creating a lot of mosh pits. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool to listen to and make this type of music. You know, it's really creative. I like it. Yo, a really crazy distorted vibe to end that track off. I think the beat switch towards the end for the third verse is okay. I'm not too fond of it. I do think that the first part of the track, though, really felt Astroworld-ish, you know, with the melodies that were going on. with like the little bells. They kind of feel like that whole vibe that Travis Scott created with Astroworld. I think that having a Travis Scott feature on this would have been really interesting. You know, I think that the production's more along that vein. I think it's really great though. I think it's hard hitting, you know. I think that I almost said Travis. I think that Jaden is like I said earlier in the video, really creative with his vocals and how he mixes them so that it keeps the track fresh and interesting to listen to. But I definitely feel like, you know, the melodies on this kind of felt like the first track off of Astroworld. I'm forgetting the name of it now. Stargazing. Kind of feels like that. See for yourself, listen to both the tracks back to back, and then let me know in the comment section if you agree. But yeah, definitely getting that sort of vibe from this. I think it's interesting. It's dope. Next track is Summertime in Paris.
Summertime is meant to fall and I wrote you a poem for your love. She likes my dish, she said I thought I'm asking for summertime.
Oh, I like that little drum fill. I love when he features Willow, man. This track is ridiculously dreamy. It is really wavy. It is very well executed. I love that he featured Willow Smith on here. I absolutely love her voice. I love her performance on this. I think that the bridge with Chris Wu, where he's speaking, I'm not sure whether it's Japanese or Chinese, but he's speaking another language. I think that it sounds really dope. I think it was a really interesting addition. It's definitely a really cool bridge for us to listen to during this track. I think that the whole vibe to this track is just so refreshing. It definitely feels like a summertime love track. You know, it's definitely very wavy. It's going to go onto my playlist for sure. It's going to be in heavy rotation for me. It's going to be a standout track off of this project. I can't compliment enough Jaden Smith's versatility. You know, he's not the best singer, but I feel like he manages to sound so great whenever he does sing, you know? He doesn't have to do too many different runs. He doesn't have to do too many fancy things. Just a little bit of auto-tune in his vocals, and he's just so wavy, you know? Not everybody can do it, but he does it really well. I really like this track, man. Next track is Blackout.
Looking for my baby mother. Lost boys never find home. Couldn't tell you places I've gone. Every night a different fucking time zone. Said she love me, so you always
This whole song is a trip, man. I feel like after the halfway point of the project, we've definitely felt a shift. A lot of the songs have been wavier. They've been more laid back and relaxed. This one is absolutely great for you to zone out to, man. I got so lost in this production. The outro is extremely smooth. You know, it's a really cool vibe. There's a whole lot of passion and pain and emotion in his delivery and his performance. You know, you can definitely feel it whenever he goes into those bridges or those hooks and he's just screaming about how this girl has his heart. It's really interesting to listen to, man. It's a really interesting track. That's really the only word to describe it. But it's executed very well. It doesn't feel like he's trying too hard to be different. It feels very natural. It feels like he's in his element, you know, and that's one thing that I always admired about Jaden Smith is he's got so much versatility and so many different sounds that he can do, and he never sounds like he's trying too hard to fit into a certain genre. He just does what he's good at, and he's good at a lot of things. So I really like that about this track. This is beautiful, bro. The beginning sounded so radically different. I mean, there's two parts to this track, and the second part is absolutely my favorite. The first part sounds like pain, you know, it's aggressive, it's hard hitting, it's very tough, you know, but it also ends very abruptly, and the second half just kind of comes in and soothes everything, you know. It's so soothing, it's so mellow, it's so incredibly beautiful, and it's almost like falling in love after somebody broke your heart, you know. The pain kind of just like ends out of nowhere. You don't even realize it because you're already so in love with this other person, and that's kind of made you forget about all the hurt. So that's kind of like what that transition meant to me in the middle of the track. That was great though. It's a beautiful song, man. It really is. Next track is Chateau.
My iPhone is smashed now. I got new contacts. Itching my eyes, I'm a scratch now. Like, I need blood on the lead. People be leaving from the contracts. Got more money than me. We taking it big. My flat.
ASAP Rocky's killing his verse.
All these diamonds not for show. They claiming it's raining, well that's what they told me. I tell them to show me, I'm ready to go. Niggas baloney, when we gonna check it, don't trust in the stroke. But they didn't know it, I'm letting them know. It's taking the gas now. I don't call contact.
This track is just really fun, you know. ASAP Rocky kills his verse, Jaden kills his verse. It's really short. It goes. It's really hard, man. And this is a really fun track. It's a banger, you know. What can I say? Next track is On My Own.
Shining on them, I'd rather trip alone. Put those on game who didn't know the true form. Catch your hour, wasting time. So never know what's in store. Baby, yeah, we can go on. Feeling just don't stop it.
Kid Cudi, bro.
I see the light in stay strong.
This beat sounds perfectly made for Kid Cudi, man.
Them kids go hard. Change the scope off.
Yo, that beat switch up towards the end was really great, man. My favorite part of this song is probably the Kid Cudi hook. You know, it's so catchy, it's so freeing, it's so emphatic, it's so brilliant. You know, I really like it. I love this beat. I think that it sounds perfectly produced for Kid Cudi. It really sounds like it belongs to Kid Cudi, and he decided to let Jaden have it, you know? Because it really does sound like Kid Cudi's vibe. I think it's a great track. I think it's an awesome collaboration. I really hope to hear more from them in the future. And next track is Riot. You know, this track is okay. Again, it's one of those tracks that's not really wowing me. It's not really impressive to me. It's executed well. It's creative. There's even an interlude in it that's not lyrical. It's just vocals. I thought that was an interesting thing to do. You know, we can see elements of his creativity throughout this track, but it's just not really impressive. You know, it's something that he's been doing throughout this entire project, you know, and it's now track 16, so it's not like I can expect him to do something radically different, you know, because we are towards the end of the track. I mean, we've only got one track left, excuse me, and we only have one track left, so it's not like I'm expecting him to just completely shift the direction, but, you know, it's just an okay track. It's nothing too special. The last track is ERYS.
With this I'll leave you. He or she who sings through.
Yeah, man, it's a really creative track. It's got 3 parts to it. It's really long. And it kind of gives us the concept of the project. You know, it kind of gives us ERYS dying and Sire coming back, and they're like 2 opposing personalities. They're kind of like the opposites of each other. ERYS seems to be way more aggressive, way more hard-hitting, and kind of like really dark, and Sire is more of the wavy, kind of like swoon type of guy. You know, he's the one who's gonna sing on the really melodic and lovey-dovey type of tracks, you know, stuff like that. I mean, it's really cool to see him kind of paint this picture for us. You know, it's a really interesting last track. The production is very well crafted. It's really interesting to listen to. You know, that really is what it is. It ties all the story together. and it ends the project off very, very nicely. So let's talk about this project. So this project is absolutely chock full of a whole lot of different vibes, a whole lot of different styles of music. It showcases a whole lot of versatility on Jaden Smith's part, and none of it feels forced. None of the different genres that he explores feels like he's trying too hard to kind of fit into that genre. He does everything very well on this project, actually. Everything is really well mixed, well executed, from the aggression to the love songs to the really wavy tracks and the really smooth songs to the really hard-hitting distorted vocals, to all of it really being well crafted and executed and planned out and thought out, you know. And Jaden Smith seems very calculated when he creates projects like these. It has a very cohesive story to it, you know. At the end, the last song ties it all together very well. To me, honestly, this is going to be in my album of the year playlist. I have a playlist on Spotify where I basically have all of the albums that I consider to be the best projects of the year, and I listen to them repeatedly, you know, in that playlist, so that towards the end of the year I have a better idea of the order of the albums in which I like them. And this project will go up on there because I really enjoyed it. I think that the production is absolutely great. I had a blast listening to it. It's a really fun project to listen to. It's got a whole lot of awesome production to break down. You know, it's so creative. It's so artistically beautiful. You know, it's got so many awesome features. I mean, Jaden Smith really killed it with this project, man. I think that anybody who gives it less than a 7.5 to an 8 is being unfair, because this is a really solid body of work, you know. Do I feel like it's a little long? Sure. You know, maybe it could have been maybe 2 tracks shorter, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of bad things to say about it. That's how I feel. You know, I really enjoyed it. So those are my thoughts on this project. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you like the content I'm producing on the channel, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. You could also follow me on my social media. That'd be really dope. And yeah, stay in tune, because I'm going to be posting a whole lot more content. So I'll see you all in another video very soon, guys. Stay safe. Peace.